My husband was cheating, and his whole family knew about it. I never thought I'd be writing this. I always used to read stories like this and think, wow, I can't imagine how that person must feel. But now here I am, pouring out my heart because I don't know where else to turn. I, 28F, have been married to my husband, Ryan, 32M, for just under a year. We had a whirlwind romance, met through mutual friends, dated for 2 years, got engaged, and had the most beautiful wedding. It felt like a fairy tale, the kind of love story that people dream about. His family welcomed me with open arms, especially his mom, who treated me like her own daughter from day one. Everything felt perfect, until it didn't. I'm writing this because I found out that my husband has been cheating on me, but it's not just that. The worst part? Everyone in his family knew. They all knew, and not a single person told me. I feel betrayed on every level possible. Let me start from the beginning. I thought our marriage was strong, but it turns out I was blind, and I don't know how to pick up the pieces. Ryan and I met at a mutual friend's birthday party about 3.5 years ago. He was charming, funny, and immediately attentive to me in a way that made me feel special. You know that feeling when you meet someone, and there's this instant connection, like everything clicks into place? That was us. Our relationship moved fast. We were inseparable from the moment we met, and within 6 months, we moved in together. After 2 years of dating, he proposed during a trip to Italy under the stars. It was magical, the kind of proposal you see in the movies. I said yes without hesitation. His family had been nothing but supportive the whole time. His mom, Diane, was like a second mother to me. She would call me just to chat, we'd go shopping together, and every holiday was spent with his family, who embraced me as one of their own. I felt like I had hit the jackpot, not only with Ryan, but with his entire family. The wedding was beautiful, an outdoor ceremony with all of our loved ones. My parents adored Ryan, and his family doted on me. I felt like I was living a dream, and I couldn't have been happier. But not long after the honeymoon phase wore off, I started noticing small cracks in the perfect facade. Looking back now, the signs were there, but I was too caught up in my love for Ryan to see them for what they were. It started with little things, Ryan working late more often, claiming he had urgent projects at work. Sometimes he'd get calls late at night from an important client, and he'd step out of the room to take them. I trusted him completely, so I didn't think much of it at first. He had a demanding job in finance, and I knew his hours could be unpredictable. Then there was his phone. He became more protective of it. He used to leave it lying around the house, but suddenly, he was always carrying it with him. When I asked him about it, he brushed it off, saying he was just trying to stay on top of work emails. Again, I believed him. I had no reason not to. But then, things started to get weirder. His mom, Diane, who had always been so warm and open with me, started acting different. She was still nice to me, but there was this distance that hadn't been there before. She stopped inviting me over for our usual coffee dates, and when we were together at family gatherings, she seemed quieter, more reserved. Ryan's sister, Julie, who I had also become close with, started acting strange too. She used to text me all the time, but her messages became more infrequent, and when we did see each other, she seemed nervous, like she was avoiding something. I couldn't put my finger on it, but something felt off. I just didn't know what. It all came crashing down about 2 months ago. Ryan was supposed to be out of town for work, attending a conference in another city. He had mentioned it weeks in advance, so I didn't think anything of it when he left on a Friday morning. I spent the weekend catching up with friends, running errands, and enjoying some alone time. On Sunday, I decided to go for a walk in a nearby park, something I used to do often before we got married. As I was walking through the park, I saw a couple sitting on a bench up ahead, laughing and talking closely. At first, I didn't think much of it until I got closer. My heart stopped when I realized that the man was Ryan. And the woman? It wasn't some important client or colleague from work. It was a woman I had never seen before, and they were way too close for comfort. I stood frozen, watching them. Ryan had his arm around her, and they were whispering and laughing like they were in their own little world. My world felt like it was crumbling around me. I didn't confront them right then and there. I couldn't. I turned around and walked away, my mind racing. I was in shock. How could he do this to me? Why was he here when he was supposed to be out of town? Who was that woman? When I got home, I felt sick. I sat on the couch, staring at my phone, trying to figure out what to do. My mind was spinning with a million questions, but one thing was clear. Ryan had been lying to me. I couldn't keep this to myself. I needed answers. When Ryan came home that evening, I confronted him. "Why were you in the park today with that woman?" I asked, my voice shaking. Ryan's face went pale. For a moment, he didn't say anything. Then he stammered, "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't lie to me, Ryan," I said, my voice rising. "I saw you. You were supposed to be out of town, but you were here. With her. Who is she?" He looked down at the floor, unable to meet my eyes. "She's just a friend," he mumbled. "A friend?" I said, incredulous. "You don't act like that with just a friend. Tell me the truth, Ryan. Have you been cheating on me?" The silence that followed felt like an eternity. I could hear my own heart pounding in my ears. Finally, he sighed and said, "Yes. I've been seeing her for a few months." It felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. My legs went weak, and I sat down, trying to process what I had just heard. My husband, the man I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with, had been cheating on me for months. I felt like I couldn't breathe, as if the betrayal from Ryan wasn't enough. What came next was even more devastating. After the confrontation, I didn't know what to do. I left the house for a few days and stayed with a friend while I tried to figure out my next steps. I felt like my life had been shattered, and I didn't know how to move forward. During that time, I decided to reach out to Ryan's mom, Diane. She had always been someone I could talk to, and I thought maybe she could help me make sense of everything. I didn't tell her the full details over the phone, just that Ryan and I were going through a rough patch, and I needed someone to talk to. When I met her at a cafe, she looked anxious, more anxious than I'd ever seen her. I told her what had happened, that Ryan had admitted to cheating on me, and I was heartbroken. I thought she would be shocked, but instead, she just nodded quietly. That's when it hit me. "You knew, didn't you?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Diane didn't say anything at first. She looked down at her coffee, avoiding my gaze. Finally, she said, "I didn't want to get involved. It's complicated, and I thought it was Ryan's place to tell you." I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. "You knew, and you didn't say anything?" "Diane, I trusted you. How could you keep something like this from me?" She tried to explain, saying that she didn't want to cause trouble between us, that she hoped Ryan would end the affair on his own, but it was all just excuses. I couldn't believe that the woman I had considered a second mother had known all along and had kept it from me. Later, I found out that not only Diane knew, but so did Ryan's sister, Julie, and even his father. They all knew about the affair, and not one of them told me. I felt utterly betrayed, not just by Ryan, but by his entire family. These were people I had loved and trusted, and they had all kept this massive secret from me. That was a few weeks ago, and I'm still trying to figure out how to move forward. I filed for divorce, but the emotional toll this has taken on me is something I'm still grappling with every day. I've cut off contact with Ryan and his family. I can't look at any of them without feeling anger and hurt. I'm staying with a close friend while I sort out the legal aspects of the divorce, and I've started seeing a therapist to help me process everything that's happened. The hardest part is that I feel like I've lost not just my husband, but the family I thought I had gained. I used to feel so loved and supported by them, but now I realize it was all a lie. They stood by and watched while Ryan cheated on me, and they said nothing. It's going to take a long time to heal from this, but I know I'll get through it. I deserve better than a husband who would betray me like that, and I deserve better than a family who would keep such a horrible secret from me. I don't know what the future holds, but I know that I won't let this define me. I'm stronger than this, and I'll come out the other side, even if it takes time. To anyone reading this, thank you for listening. Writing this out has been cathartic, even if it hurts. I don't have all the answers yet, but I'm taking it one day at a time. And I know, eventually I'll be okay. Subscribe and like for more videos.